In the golden glow of old Hollywood, where studios ruled and stars were made, few names shone brighter than Barbara Stanwyck and William Holden. They were cut from different cloths. She, a working-class survivor with sharp edges and heart. He, the all-American boy next door who matured into one of the most respected leading men of his time. They each carved out legendary careers, but they also shared moments on screen that brought together two powerhouse performers at different stages in their journeys. This is the story of Barbara Stanwyck and William Holden, two stars who defined an era, changed the rules, and left behind performances that still resonate with raw power and elegance. Barbara Stanwyck was born Ruby Catherine Stevens on July 16, 1907, in Brooklyn, New York. Orphaned at a young age, she was raised in foster homes and by an older sister. Life was not kind in her early years. She grew up fast, toughened by hardship, and developed a no-nonsense attitude that would later define both her public persona and many of her greatest roles. She began her career as a chorus girl and found her way into silent films in the late 1920s. By the early 1930s, Stanwyck had begun making a name for herself in Hollywood. Her rise was swift but not without effort. She was known for her fierce work ethic, often memorizing entire scripts overnight and performing her own stunts. She didn't rely on glamour or image manipulation. Instead, she relied on talent, integrity, and presence. Barbara Stanwyck specialized in complex women, tough, wounded, intelligent, sometimes cynical, always real. She could be the sharp-tongued femme fatale in Double Indemnity, the hard-working, loving mother in Stella Dallas, or the witty con artist in The Lady Eve. Her range was staggering, and though she was nominated for the Academy Award 4 times, it wasn't until decades later that she received an honorary Oscar for her incredible body of work. William Holden, on the other hand, was born William Franklin Beadle Jr. on April 17, 1918, in O'Fallon, Illinois. His family eventually moved to Pasadena, California, and Holden attended Pasadena Junior College, where he studied chemistry. But fate had other plans. While working at a local radio station, he caught the attention of a talent scout, and soon, his movie career began. Holden's early days in Hollywood were defined by charm and good looks. He was the fresh-faced leading man, boyish, sincere, and clean-cut. His breakout role came in 1939 with Golden Boy, where he played a violinist-turned-boxer. It was a major hit and earned him the nickname Golden Boy throughout his career. What's lesser known is that Golden Boy almost ended very differently for Holden. He was struggling with the role until his co-star, Barbara Stanwyck, stepped in. She saw potential in him, stood up for him with the studio, and helped coach him through the performance. It was an act of generosity and mentorship that Holden never forgot. Years later, when he accepted his Oscar for Stalag 17, he dedicated it to Stanwyck, calling her the woman who made me a star. That moment, one struggling actor being lifted up by a veteran, epitomizes who Barbara Stanwyck was, not just a great actress, but a generous spirit and a powerful presence both on and off screen. As their careers progressed, Holden and Stanwyck each evolved in fascinating ways. For Stanwyck, the 1940s and early 1950s were a creative high point. She took on some of the darkest and most challenging roles of her career. In 1944's Double Indemnity, she played Phyllis Dietrich's son, a cold-blooded murderess in one of the most iconic noir films ever made. With her blonde wig, calculating stare, and subtle manipulations, she delivered a performance so chilling and nuanced that it redefined what a femme fatale could be. That film, directed by Billy Wilder, became a cornerstone of the film noir genre, and Stanwyck its queen. She also showed her comedic prowess in Preston Sturges' The Lady Eve, 1941, where she played a con woman who seduces and outwits a wealthy heir. Stanwyck was quick-witted, sexy, vulnerable, and wildly funny, an unbeatable combination that showed just how much range she possessed. Meanwhile, William Holden was growing into something deeper. Though his early years saw him typecast as romantic leads or soldiers, his career took a turn in the 1950s when he began exploring darker, more flawed characters. In Billy Wilder's Sunset Boulevard, 1950, he played Joe Gillis, a struggling screenwriter who becomes entangled with a fading silent film star, Norma Desmond. It was a sharp, cynical look at Hollywood itself, and Holden's performance was pitch perfect. Sunset Boulevard was a turning point for Holden. He was no longer just a handsome face. He was a serious actor, capable of depth, irony, and tragic subtlety. He followed it up with Stanwyck 17 in 1953, a gritty World War II drama that earned him the Academy Award for Best Actor. He continued that momentum with Sabrina, 1954, The Bridge on the River Kwai, 1957, and later, Network, 1976, where he played a weary news executive in a performance that earned him yet another Oscar nomination. Both Stanwyck and Holden represented something rare in Hollywood: durability. They weathered the shifts in public taste, the collapse of the studio system, and the arrival of television and new cinematic styles. Through it all, they adapted and endured. Stanwyck transitioned to television in the 1960s and 70s, earning acclaim for her role in The Big Valley and winning an Emmy for The Thornbirds in 1983. She continued working well into her 70s and never lost her command of the screen. Holden, though more private and troubled in his personal life, particularly with alcohol, never stopped acting. He delivered powerful performances up until his death in 1981. One of his last roles was in 1981, a biting satire of Hollywood, and at SH. Though they only made one film together, Golden Boy, Stanwyck and Holden remained linked by that pivotal moment in 1939. In many ways, their relationship reflected Hollywood at its best, when experience mentors youth, when ego is put aside for the art, and when genuine respect transcends competition. Barbara Stanwyck was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award by the American Film Institute in 1987. Her acceptance speech was short, heartfelt, and characteristically humble. She spoke of the joy of work, the gratitude she felt for those she had worked with, and her love of the craft. William Holden, posthumously, remains one of the most admired actors of his generation. He was known for bringing realism to his roles, for avoiding artifice, and for never shying away from characters with flaws. He once said, "Movie acting may not have a certain kind of glory as true art, but it is damn hard work." That dedication showed in every role he played. In the annals of film history, Barbara Stanwyck and William Holden occupy places of honor, not just because they were stars, but because they were craftsmen. They treated acting as an art and a job. They respected the audience and never pandered. They worked through personal struggles, industry changes, and career reinventions to deliver performances that still command our attention today. Stanwyck and Holden also represent two types of old Hollywood resilience. She was the self-made woman who climbed out of hardship and never forgot who she was. He was the reluctant star who matured into greatness and constantly sought truth in his work. Today, when we watch Golden Boy, we don't just see a boxing film. We see a moment of transformation. For Holden, it was his beginning. For Stanwyck, it was a moment of grace, one that shaped someone else's destiny. Their stories remind us that Hollywood isn't just about fame and glamour. It's about growth, perseverance, and connection. It's about people who find truth in fiction and use it to